Okay. We are giving you fluffy stuff and comfy, cozy tonight. But I want to break down this concept in the easiest way that I can break it down. What is a privilege and what is a resource? I was googling this because I was trying to basically insert other videos into another video that I made where it would explain to you, about access and privilege, right? Now, um the reason that I want to break down this concept is because some people have been upset because they feel like Black Americans specifically, who have been the most marginalized group really on planet Earth and probably definitely in America, because they are getting access to resources and the dividends that come with those resources, they are upset because how can you say it? Because of the scarcity of the resource. The reason I keep using the word resource here is because, I'm going to give you an example. In my hand, I have my AirPods, right? Um, these are AirPod Pros. I got them at the Apple store. I think I paid something like $250 for them. I like them. I use them every day. I charge them. I put them on my bandolier. They're great. If you want AirPods, then you can spend $250 to buy them. Now, I have to be realistic here in saying in understanding the value, right, of that resource. With those AirPods, I can listen to the albums that I like, the music that I like. And it brings me a lot of utility. It brings me a lot of joy. Like I've told you guys many times, I ride the bus around everywhere right now, and so it's great to be on public transit and be able to listen to my favorite songs and just kind of groove along. I love it. But relatively, that's actually a lot of money to spend on some headphones. You could, but that's the amount of money that some people spend for a whole month on food, and that's just reality, right? So it's a lot of money. So obviously every person that you see on the street is not going to have AirPods, because every person doesn't have a job and they don't have the money. They don't have the $250 to spend on the AirPods. So in this case, the AirPods are a resource and a commodity, a scarce resource. But if you come up with the $200, you can buy it. You know what I'm saying? So now that's the same thing with jobs in society, coveted jobs, tech jobs, or finance jobs, or being a doctor or a lawyer, or even a successful actress. All of those jobs are coveted spots in society that people want. And they want those spots because of all the perks that come with it. If you're an actress, you get or if you're a model, right, you get free clothes, and you get to go to the coolest parties, and you get to go to the openings of restaurants. Or if you're a doctor, you get to earn a lot of money, so then you can buy a nicer car and a nicer home, and maybe you get to stimulate your interest of research, if that's what you're into. I don't know what your thing is, right? But there's reasons that people want to do certain careers and not others. Maybe people don't want to be I don't know, grave diggers or something because they don't like death. Or other people don't want to be garbage men because they don't like garbage. Whatever the thing is, there's reasons why people are choosing some jobs over the other. Now, a point of going to college for the everyman, we're talking about for common people, people maybe you and me, we think about college in a way where we can gain a skill, kind of get to know a little bit more about different people in society by meeting new people, and gaining a skill to go into a career. Now, in my personal opinion, just with some things that I've learned, I actually don't know if I would advise other Black women to take this path. There's a couple of reasons for this. Oh, sorry. We'll go into that after, but I want to stay on topic here. And I wanted to break down some of the privileges that go into not maybe like the access and privilege that a lot of people from the upper middle class have that enable them to get those coveted spots in, say, like the Harvard or the Princeton, and even like the universities of California or like the NYUs, as opposed to maybe like Ohio State or like Tennessee State. I made another video where I talked about like how those state schools, like getting a degree from there is like useless. Like I saw that like Sonny went to San Francisco State. That's not a good school. You can feel your feelings about it, but like San Francisco State isn't a good school. Like and I'll put another link in the description box if you want to see this. But it's just been an ongoing conversation within tech circles about how probably most people don't need to go to college. Like more people are going than is necessary, and just in terms of like the needs of our society, like you don't need to go if you're not going to be like a lawyer or a doctor or I would say like a researcher in some way. They're like, why are you going? You just like we don't need a bunch of people with like history degrees, though. Like having a history degree, is useful, I suppose, if you just like have an honest passion for history and you have the money and the time. Like if you are coming straight out of high school and you have the money to go to college, or you're willing to like work and invest your money in college, I think it is a valuable experience. Like the college experience is valuable. Just like having my AirPods, though, is valuable. I definitely wouldn't say that everybody needs AirPods to live. Like everyone doesn't need college to live. Anyway, but let's go back for a second to what it kind of takes to get into these sort of schools. And especially what I've seen, because I feel like I grew up around this. Now, a lot of people have this idea that like, they call them like tiger moms, where they think that all Asian culture is the same and all Asian people are the same. And so they say like, Asians as a group, they value academia. There are a lot of Asians who do. I will say that is probably, especially in America, veering more toward like the side of like, yes, that's true. But at the same time, they aren't the only group who prioritizes academia or smarts, and there is a structure to that. And so I guess I kind of want to talk about that structure for a second. Valuing academia and being successful academically comes down to study habits and mastering those study habits. So being able to like, study to the test, actually doing your homework, mastering concepts, smaller concepts that build onto larger concepts, and really gaining mastery. Like a lot of Asian students, and at this point, it's really a lot of upper middle class students do something called Kumon. Now, Kumon is basically this like after school learning mastery program that it hones in on like English and math skills. It's skills based, so it's kind of like section by section, skill by skill. It enables you to like learn one skill and then move on to the next skill, and the skills like get you grow with your skill set until you have mastered a concept, and then you go on to the next concept, and this goes on and on until basically you have gotten through 12th grade English and 12th grade math. And so it makes you overly prepared for college. It like it ensures your college readiness in terms of math and reading, which are skills like if you have mastered those two skills, it's very translatable to any other subject or domain, including like science, physics, history, sociology, like whatever you want to study. If you can read and do math, you're going to be successful. So a lot of Asian students like participate in Kumon in America, at least, and really actually it's now Kumon is in Latin America. It's all over the world. And We can also talk about groups. I don't want to talk about Jack and Jill because I think Jack and Jill is problematic. That's like the black one, but maybe like Phi Kappa. Or there's also a lot of things about like summer camps, science intensive camps. It's really under this umbrella of like extracurricular activities and clubs that people are members of all throughout like middle school, high school, and even beyond, like during summer vacations and things that make them more well rounded as people. Like we call it like global citizens. So there's this idea of like IB programs, and they're available all over the world, where it's called an international baccalaureate program. And if you have like if you're in an IB school, which is like if I talk about Gossip Girl here a lot, but like that's the school that those kids went to, Spence, which is the school that Kerry Washington went to, and Gwyneth Paltrow, those are all IB schools, right? When we're talking about those really wealthy schools in New York, those are IB schools. We're not talking about like the public charter schools that some people like they do have a couple of those. Like I went to public schools. I didn't go to any private schools, but I did that intentionally. Like I personally I believe strongly in public education, and really the use of the library and like teaching yourself things. Like that is just one of my like world views and like life philosophies. But a lot of people need personalized education, and they need sort of like a specialized regimen in order to succeed. And that is what those private schools like Spence and Phillips Exeter offer. There's so much you can read. You can go look on the websites for yourself if you want to understand how different those educational experiences are from maybe the one that you had or like I had. But at the same time, I don't think that having an experience outside of that bubble makes it so that you would not be able to function in society or around people who did not have that experience. And I feel like one of the major flaws that I see with American society, and especially with Black women, is that just like our own lived experience of womanhood and femininity is so misunderstood, undocumented, misclassified, impoverished, exploited. Really, every negative word that you could think of pertaining to a social group in society has been exerted right onto Black women, and there's not really much pushback. Like I said before in that Suki Hana response video, it's just like a massive amount of exploitation without any pushback. There aren't really other, like sometimes you become so marginalized in society, that was my sock, that you don't have the energy to push back. And that's understandable. Black women are tired, and I get it. I'm tired too. But I still come on. Honestly, it's very therapeutic for me to talk to you guys. Any comment that you guys leave me that is like on topic and informative, I read it. I'm appreciative of it. Thank you for having it. Like, I love that you guys are here and we can have these, like, I feel like I want you to feel like I am your homie, right? Like that, or that I want to be your neighbor. Maybe not that. I don't want to be your homie. I'd rather be your neighbor. I want to be the community member who hears and observes things in society and simply has probably the unpopular opinion about those things. I know that I don't see the world in the same way that others see the world. And specifically, I have had to acknowledge my own privilege. But for me, it's been a lot of, how do I say it? Almost like being hypercritical of Karen privilege that I grew up around. Like I grew up around so many Karens, basically all Karens, and they have a lot of privilege. And I think, to me, I hear a lot of Black women talk about this like racialized experience, this ghettoized experience, but a lot of it simply has to do with poverty and the lack of resources in the Black female community. Like, if Black women, Black children, Black families had the same access as like most white families have to public resources, like funded schools, the PTA, the soccer team on school, at the school, Kumon after school activities, functional malls, Trader Joe's, clean parks, rehabilitation services, health clinics, things that are really basic in every other community. If the black community had those public resources, black children, black families, black women would be doing better. That is a really hard reality that I had to learn, which is why I don't think black women can like sit around and wait for black men to get their shit together. Like, if you do that, you're gonna die off. And I made another video called like Black Academics, which I'll link in the description box, where Tupac's mother talks about like why she doesn't advise anyone to do that, because the black community will suck you dry, in the name of like activism, and just nothing moves forward. And like, you only have 100 years to live for yourself. If you waste all of your time thinking about the next generation, as you see, there are just as many poor children, poor black children now as there were when the Black Panthers were doing all their shit, right? These activists are going to continue to grab mics and ask for free shit. The faces of people will change. Everything will start to change, right? Some people will be like, oh, it's colorism. Oh my God, classism, affirmative action, blah, 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 blah. And you know what the reality is? Every single resource, every single opportunity, every single day costs money. And the really big question is about, are you listening to this willing to pay the money? Other women in society are going to have somebody else footing the bill. Their parents, their husbands, their brothers, a fucking fairy princess. Like, somebody else is going to foot the bill for them. That just isn't the case for you. Like, black women, you have to start and stop with your feet firmly planted on the ground at every step. And if you don't have a resource to go to the next step, which that resource is going to be money, you can't go. Without money, you can't go. Other people without money can go. You can't do that, because like, that is the way that this particular society works. I can just speak from my own lived experiences. Like, black is black and white is white, and you can believe that there's something else, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. Black women belong in Africa. European white women belong in Europe. Whatever this American pot of bullshit is, you can like watch it and it's like, it's really cute, you know, in the way that you watch Euphoria for one episode and you're like, that was cute, girl. Like, it was all cute, but like, I think it's also really important right now that black women wake the fuck up and realize like where we belong and where we do not.